guys, my name is Vanessa and I would like to welcome you back to Unfiltered Faith on Alleluia TV, where we cater to the youth and have Christ-centered conversations. Our topic for today is going to be, I love Jesus, but the Bible confuses me. And so the verse of the day is going to be Isaiah 43, verse 2. This is one of my favorite verses. I do enjoy this verse a lot. Especially it reminds me of, if I'm going through anything that troubles me. This verse reminds us of God's presence, and it shows us, when we go through anything that troubles us or anything that makes us feel down, that God will always be there for us. So the verse says, when you go through deep waters, I will be with you. When you go through rivers of difficulty, you will not drown. When you walk through the fire of oppression, you will not be burnt up. The flames will not consume you. This verse gives us a lot of important truth, but what does it really mean? So with this verse, it means a lot of things. It means that it gives you the idea that God is always with you, even when you feel down, troubled. It reminds you that there's always going to be someone there for you, even if you feel like no one is there, even if you feel like everyone's gone, everyone's if you're deep down and troubled, and it's going to make you feel like, God is going to be there with you. He's always going to remind you that he's there, even if you think that he's not. And when you look back on it, it was just like, oh, he was really there. He was there right in that moment. And with this verse, I do think about it a lot. I see it a lot, even through my exams. I go over it. I think about it, and it gives me a lot of comfort, and it removes a lot of anxiety from me. So I do enjoy this verse a lot. But as we get into our topic about the why, even though reading the Bible, confuses you, see what happens when we do love Jesus, but also we're going to be going further into the Bible. So I have 5 things that I would like to state about what to do if the Bible confuses you, how to get into the Bible, how to maintain your focus in the Bible, even when you feel like it's hard, because at first, the Bible was very confusing for me. I really didn't know where to start or how to get to there, how to actually remember any verses, or how to understand the stories that are in the Bible, because it's a big book. It's something that you can't just read through and expect for you to understand it immediately. It's going to be a hard thing. It takes time, and it takes a lot of work. And when you're in this religion, you got to put in a lot of work, but a lot of it is worth it in the end. So 5 steps are: to say a prayer before you read the Bible and ask for the Holy Spirit to guide you and give you understanding about what you're reading. Doing this puts you in a perspective of, I'm going to read the Bible. I'm going to have God talk. God's going to talk to me today. I'm going to understand what's going on, how I can get through this, and ultimately it just puts you in a place of peace and a place of understanding. You can go on your bed, put it on your desk, if you're in your car, doesn't matter where you're at. If you're reading the Bible, just say a quick prayer before you start to dive in, because it'll help you understand it more. I feel like that personally helps me. And for my next step would be, as you're reading, for you to underline the words that you are reading, and for you to write down anything that you don't understand. Underlining keeps you engaged within what you're reading. It keeps you engaged with the key points that you think you know or think that you could be missed, and it keeps it just organized for you. And as for writing words that you don't know, there's a lot of words that people don't know necessarily. And once you go into the Bible and you see that you don't know a word, missing that word can really change the perspective of what you're reading. So if you see a word that you don't understand, take a quick pause, look it up, see what it means, and then it's like, oh, this is what this verse is trying to tell me, or this is what this means, and this is what this does. And it changes the way that you look at the Bible, especially if you're reading the King James version, and that's hard in general. So if you need to look up words, that's okay. Also, my third step is going to be going to other biblical sources. And one of my favorites is, it's on YouTube. It's called The Bible Project. They basically summarize the different books of the Bible. And, you can play it you can play it in the background, you can listen to it, especially if you don't understand what you just read, and it gives you a summary of the whole book that you just read. So say the book of Acts, you're gonna, type in the Bible Project, book of Acts, and it's going to give you a summary of what happened, what's going on, the people that are in there, and it just summarizes it for you. So that way, once you go back and read it, and once you sit there and understand what you're reading, it gives you a basic clarity of the things that's going on. And also other biblical sources, other sources that I like to use, it's not really biblical, but you could actually use it as a complement to what you are reading, which is ChatGPT. We all know AI is it's here, so might as well utilize it sometimes, but it's not something that you could ultimately just depend on, because obviously not all computers are accurate. So you just have to use it as a basis, and it does help you put things together, especially if you don't understand it. You can ask ChatGPT to explain what the verse we just read it, Isaiah 43, explain it to you as you're 5 years old, or as you're someone that's just learning how to read. It's adds as essential, and it does help you keep it together. But you have to understand, AI is AI. We are humans. God is God. You can't it can't do everything for you. You still have to have some understanding. And my fourth step is going to be taking your time. Once you take your time to read the Bible, you better understand it. It's not going to take, you're not going to read the book of, let's say, the first Samuel. You're not going to read it in one day. If you read it in one day, kudos to you, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that you did not understand. And, take your time reading it, even if you have to read it verse by verse every day, or if you have to take your time reading it chapter by chapter, to put it in small chunks. That way you can, meditate on it, make sure that you understand what you're reading, because if you don't take your time, you're going to miss a lot of context. You're going to miss a lot of context clues, and you're going to miss a lot of what God is trying to tell you, or what you're trying to seek within the Bible. And doing that, it doesn't help you, because it's just like, I just read this, but I still don't understand it. Oh, I read this, but I missed this one clue. As an example, I could give you, last year I read the book of Esther. I read it by itself, without really taking my time. I just kind of read the whole thing. It's not really that long, so I just read it. And I really didn't understand it after I read it, and it really didn't make sense to me, but I still was just like, I still read it, I read it. But a year later, which was the beginning of this year, which is January, I read it again, because I saw, a couple clips, and I was just like, I don't remember that. So I go back, I see my little underlines, and I was just like, I missed this part, but it was more so about King Xerxes. And I was just like, how did I miss this about this man? And then how did I miss the fact that, Queen Esther had to go through these things in order for her to become queen? And, and I didn't even understand the point of Queen Vashti. I was just like, okay, they just banished her because, she was just not a good queen. But in reality, they had to banish her in order. She had to get banished, even though, we don't know the history of her, why she said no, or in the first place. But once you look into context, you can see why she says no. And she had to say no in order for Esther to become queen, and in order to begin Jesus's lineage. And once I read it again, and I took my time to understand it, and I looked, kind of did my little steps right here, I understood it a lot better, and it put it into a better perspective for me to read, understand, and kind of explain it back to someone else and be like, hey, did you know this? Did you know that? Did you know what happened to Esther, what Esther had to do? That Esther, Mordecai had to go back and forth, not because he was just doing it just because he was weird. He was doing it because he was nervous for Esther. He didn't know what was going on. He didn't know what to expect, but he knew that he just was doing that. And I was just like, oh wow, like small things that you miss, or small things that you didn't think was important, were important within the story. And that's why I say take your time when you're reading the Bible. Even if you think it's a short book, still take your time week by week, day by day, and for you to have a better grasp of it. So my last step is to start with the Gospels, which are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. These tell you about the foundation of our faith and also talk about the life and accounts and the ministries of Jesus and the things that he had to go through, sorry for that. The things that he had to go through in order for the New Testament to become a part, in order for Jesus, to know that Jesus died for us and know that he resurrected, and also that he was his birth. And so it puts Jesus' story into one as we keep going further within the New Testament. And it's a lot easier to understand within the Gospels because once you if you start reading from the beginning, it's just like, okay, a lot of things are happening. But if you start from the New Testament and then you go into the beginning, it's like, okay, like that had to happen in order for Jesus to come. And that had to happen in order for us to get, our salvation. And with these, and it just it puts it into a lot more, a better perspective. And I found that helped me when I started reading the Bible on my own and, not someone else telling me where to start or where to read. It made it a lot easier for me. But if you want to start with other books, that's fine. That's okay. As long as you take an understanding and that you have that grasp or you understand what you are reading, it's okay. It doesn't matter where you start. But if you were to start, start in those Gospels, that way you can understand, the comings of Jesus. And with these 5 tips that I've just stated, I felt like they personally helped me. I didn't come up with it by myself, obviously, but as I took time and, I'm getting further into my journey, I understand that there is steps that you have to take. You have to have a routine when you start reading the Bible. You have to make sure that you understand it for yourself, and that also that, you're able to further your relationship with Christ. And it makes it a lot easier to know where to do it. That way, it's like when you do start or when you do decide that, I want to get into the Bible, I want to start reading the Bible more, I want to start reading it for myself, it makes it easier for you to guide yourself through it. We have a challenge for you, which this segment is called The Challenge Accepted. So for this challenge, I want you to start a prayer journal and tell God exactly how you feel and ask him to give you understanding when you are reading the Bible and to give you understanding where to start, or basically just setting a foundation for yourself. And let us know if you do start the challenge. Let us know in the comments. Let us know whenever you see me or anybody, let us know that if you did start it, and make sure you see if you started from the beginning. And then, at the end of the year, or whenever you feel like looking back at it, to read through this prayer journal and to read through what you've written before and see how you've changed. It's always a good thing to see how you've changed, because once you change, it's just like, wow, I started from here, now I'm here. And I see how you can further grow into the Bible or into your prayer life. And so now we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. All right, now that we're back, we had to take a small break, but we're back right now. And I would like to thank you guys for watching, and don't want you to forget that this is Unfiltered Faith on Alleluia TV. And I would like for you to continue watching us every Friday at 6 p.m. And I want to thank you guys for coming along with me through this journey. It's not an easy one, but we are getting through it. And as we continue to record these sessions, I will get more comfortable and, be able to talk to you guys. So if you guys have anything that you guys want to talk about, any topics that you want me to bring up or research, just put them in the comments, and we will start doing it as we keep rolling. So thank you for watching, and I would like to say wait until next time, until our next episode. Have a good day.